Great. Hi, everyone's coming
Hey,
in.
everybody.
Good to see you all again.
I mean, and like I
New
said,
faces,
they have
old
talked about
faces.
that. The best thing that they have ever done.
Okay. Everyone can make sure that they're muted coming in.
Hey, everybody. Great to see
All right, yeah.
we got a crew here.
Yeah, we do have a good crew. Hi, everybody. We're winding down before Christmas, getting excited. We have a very special holiday themed webinar today. One of our favorites, Scott Jonard. He's amazing. I'm super looking forward.
I should have done a holiday themed background.
You should have. At least you have kind of the red Christmassy outfit. You're kind of costumed for this.
I can just turn off the background entirely, and we got a Christmas tree there.
Okay, that's perfect. So we're just letting a couple more people in, and then we'll get started. I'll just do a couple housekeeping points while people are joining. So I will be moderating the chat throughout this webinar. If you have any questions for Scott during his presentation, you can put them over in the chat. I will be watching that. I'll get them to him either during the presentation or we have time for Q&A at the end. I also want to ask for you all, if you could just stick around to complete the exit survey at the end. That's our way of knowing that you are interested in getting that $5 coffee gift card. Great time of year for coffee gift cards. You can get all sorts of the seasonal Starbucks drinks. I don't know what everyone else's favorite is, but the toasted white chocolate mocha is very good. So if you want your Starbucks gift card, again, please stick around to the end to complete that exit survey. That is pretty much it. We just have those two housekeeping. So I will pass it over to Scott and he can get rocking and rolling.
Haley, you're right about the peppermint.
Oh yeah, Haley, peppermint mocha.
Oh man,
absolutely.
Chocolate mint is my jam.
People, warm up that chat. Tell us what your favorite Starbucks.
Absolutely, it's awesome to see everybody. Merry Christmas, happy holidays to you guys. I'm in Central Texas, so it's, I don't know, 75 degrees and blue skies outside. And I was looking at my Minnesota friends, and it's going to have a high of -1 next week.
Don't remind us, Scott.
High? That's great. Anyway, I hope that wherever you are having an awesome time and experiencing some beautiful weather. In the chat, I would love to know who you are. If you could just toss in your name and kind of what you do, and let's see your favorite. I see a bunch of coffee things there. Hey, your favorite Christmas treat? I'm gonna say peppermint bark. That's mine. Peppermint bark all day is great. But it's awesome seeing everybody. Let's just jump right in. If you have any questions or anything, toss those in those. Gina, good call on that peppermint bark. Okay. And yeah, I'm seeing a lot of good people. That's awesome. So we're going to jump in. If you guys want access to this presentation, it will be in the chat. It'll also be on every slide as we go in the bottom left-hand corner. So you'll have that. If you have any questions or anything, thank you, Kate, for that. Toss them in the chat. Kate will get them. We will have a time for Q&A at the end. And we'll have a chance for you guys to unmute and jump on and do all that at that time. But that is so cool to see everybody here. I'm so used to Teams. There's the share screen button. Okay. Let's take a look at this. All right. Can you guys see my screen? All right.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much, Kate. All right, so what we're talking about, I'm continuing this series. I'm on this big kick about making technology stick and sticky, but we're talking the 5 things to do before breaks, in this case, Christmas break, winter break, to make your tech stick that kind of really makes sense. A little bit about who I am, if this is your first time here, Krishna, I need to know about what buckyballs are. I'll save it for the end, but we'll put that on the board on the parking lot because I want to know what that's all about. But anyway, a little bit about me. I spent 8 years as a special education teacher, working in all sorts of different backgrounds, all sorts of different students. I was a technology coordinator for about 4 years for a fairly large district, about 35,000 students. I was a principal for a number of years during the COVID. I was kind of a principal / director of technology for a charter school program up around Sacramento. And then I spent my last job in education was as a director of technology just south of Sacramento. And then a few months ago, I went from being an extremely satisfied Trifera and before that Trinity 3 customer. And my wife and our family decided to move from California to Texas to be closer to family. And I talked to Trifera, and we looking for advice on, hey, do you know of any cool districts in Texas that are looking for tech directors or anything? And the team there said, yeah, but we'd love to have you join the team. And I think this is a great company, and I love talking to other technology directors and just get the opportunity to talk to you amazing people from all over the country all the time. So it's awesome. Absolute pleasure to be here. That's me with a couple of my kids. That's an old picture, but I think I look good in it, so that's why I keep it. And I've got another kid there, a beautiful wife and family. So we're stoked. So I want to talk about mission and vision a little bit. And as we talk about the going into the second semester, that second half of the school year, I think it's important to kind of refresh and remind ourselves of those things. And this is the vision for Trifera: enhancing the integration and effectiveness of classroom technology. I start with that because I think it's incredibly important to kind of have those reminders. And also, I'm a huge advocate of that mission. I see it lived out every day from the company, and I always so greatly appreciate that. By the way, the URL for this presentation is bit.ly/Trifera_5things. And it's on every slide. Like I said, you can join and grab these for yourself. Let's jump into those. We're going to start with 3 things that I think you can do right now and to kind of look back on the successes and where things went amazing. But first, communicate. We want to celebrate and we want to reflect. So let's break those down a little bit. Communicate. Don't assume. You guys all know what happens when you assume. And I know I've seen that, and I've made that mistake. I've made that mistake as a teacher, as a principal, as a director in those roles. I assume everybody knows what the end of break protocols are, as far as, make sure that everybody, turns off their power strips, and they turn off their computers, and they leave them, and they unplug, whatever it might be, those protocols. I assume that those protocols were known because we've been doing it for years. I was wrong. You may have people who are new to your program. You may have people who just forget. You may have people who are just overwhelmed. Really remember, over communicate those desired expectations. I think you really want to guide that process that you want people to follow. I think that, and I'll have an example here of a way to do that I think is encouraging and kind of combines a couple things. So really make sure that you're communicating those desires, those protocols, those things, because again, people forget, and it's important. The next thing is celebrate. One of my absolute favorite tech guys that I know, his name's John Ike. He's executive director for a charter program out of Natomas, California, outside Sacramento. And he has this phrase, which I love: celebrate that which you want to perpetuate. And I think that really stuck in my craw a number of years ago when I heard that. And I think it's so important. Really target those behaviors, those things that you really liked, and celebrate those things. But you got to be authentic. You can't just make it up. If you had a rollout of something and it was a nightmare, it was a train wreck, don't sugarcoat it and pretend like, oh, it was amazing how we did, whatever, who knows what it might be, some software thing or curriculum thing, whatever it might be. But look for those key areas of success. Did you have awesome professional development engagement? Did you do awesome tech rollout with your ongoing one-to-one initiative? Did we see a reduction in our repair protocols? Did we see some sort of increase in collaboration for our PLCs? It's something like that you can kind of target, but it's got to be authentic. Excuse me. Here's an example of kind of a message. I've used something very similar. I kind of imagined, put on my principal hat for this, and just saying something like this. Hello, amazing Tigers. Thank you for an incredible start to the 2022-23 school year. We have had an incredible first few months. Our third grade team adopted a new curriculum. We accomplished over 1,000 hours of PD on collaboration in our PLCs, and we continue to see amazing success in our one-to-one initiative. Please remember to follow the attached guide for shutting down your classroom office tech and have a wonderful and restful break. Go Tigers. Something simple. I'm calling out specifics. I'm celebrating that which I want to perpetuate. I'm engaging even in some things that are maybe not even my thing, but maybe I just saw it, like a new curriculum adoption that's going really well or whatever it might be. But in those brief things, and also, like I said, that reminder that says, hey, remember, here's that guide to shutting everything down or doing what I want them to do. And it might be something very simple, but giving some instructions I think is helpful. Even if it's as simple as remember to turn off all of your technology in your classroom, or leave it on so it can update, whatever it might look like. That can be helpful. So anyway, an example, enjoy it, use it if you want. If not, forget about it, whatever. But this is the kind of messaging I think is effective. The next thing that I think is critically important. So we've kind of talked about those things. You want to reflect, you want to celebrate, you want to do all of that. And in fact, I must have discombobulated the slides here. So reflect is the next thing. And so you want to reflect. Where did you see your greatest successes? For me, that's calling out those things. What do I want to celebrate? What do I want to perpetuate? Where did I struggle? What did not work well? Was there a professional vendor relationship that did not work well? Was there a protocol that did not work well? Was there a staffing issue that needs to be resolved? Taking a beat while you're in the moment before you go off to break and kind of saying, what were some of the struggles that I need to deal with? Jotting those down. Data is so important. Some people have these beautiful data dashboards and all of this information, but garbage in, garbage out. Is the data you're getting good and helpful? Is it getting to the people that it needs to get to? Is your data being collected and used effectively? The next thing is revisit your goals. A lot of us have goals that we align and we say, okay, this year I want to accomplish X, Y, and Z. I want to get planned together for I want to put together a 5-year technology plan for our district. I want to start a process to identify new interactive displays for our classrooms. Whatever it is, we all have those goals that we articulate. Taking a beat to say, how am I doing on those goals? Do those need to be revised? What needs to be adjusted so that we actually reach those goals and those targets that we've set? And then revisit your purpose. I'm an incredibly a strong advocate of identifying that purpose, that mission, that vision, really articulating that. So revisiting that, making sure that you're aligned with that. And then just saying, what can we learn from the first half to improve upon that second half? A lot of times we get that, I always feel like in education, it's like that, it's like a big roller coaster where the first half of the year is kind of that section where you're like jump, up the hill. And then the last half can sometimes feel like you're just careening down to summer vacation, and you blink and it's March, and you blink and it's June. So kind of taking a beat and saying, what can we learn from the first half to improve the second half can be really, really helpful sometimes. Next, we have plan. So we've done our reflection. We've done everything that we've looked at doing for that first half. We've communicated, we've celebrated. Now let's sit down and plan. I think it's really important. I see this everywhere, but education is vicious about this, of having a huge plethora of projects that we have going on. And I think that if you have 50 things you're doing, you have nothing you're doing. If you have 10 things you have committed to, you have nothing that's going to be done. And I think if you can target that down to 3 focuses, 4 focuses, and sometimes those focuses can incorporate a lot. A PD focus, for instance, can incorporate a lot, but kind of getting that down. What are the 3 things I know I need to accomplish for that second half? Are there any key partners that are needed to accomplish? Right now, in the first couple of weeks back from break, are awesome times to start scheduling demos and pilots. If you want to do any initiatives for the 23-24 school year, now's the time to start that process. Reach out to us. Let's get some Promethean panels or Newline panels for your interactive displays in the classroom. Let's check out some awesome teacher devices. Let's get you some computers so you can start an esports program or something like that. Whatever that might look like, let's get those now so you can get them in the hands of teachers, get feedback, have that process so that you can really launch into your effective initiatives as you go into next year. The other thing that I think is really helpful is if you can map out your first couple weeks back. So I need to make sure that I'm touching on these PLCs, or I need to check in on this or that, whatever it might be, kind of mapping out it can be a fairly general way, but figuring out what you want to do. That way you can really relax on the break, because you know that you've done the things you needed to do before the break. You know what you need to tackle when you come back from the break. And now I can take a beat, I can rest, and I can relax. Because rest is the 5th thing. I think it's the most important step to this process. We have a tough job in education in that it's like a marathon, it's a slog. And sometimes when you cross that finish line or you hit that piece, I know for me, I would always just kind of stumble into the break of just exhaustion falling. And then if I don't take care of myself during that rest period, I can't be successful the second half of the year, because it's going to keep going. So, excuse me. Again, rest is incredibly important. Enjoy that time. I think you can enjoy that time most effectively if you really take a beat, make sure that you've done your reflection, done your planning, done your communication and your celebration, and also do a little bit of forwards mapping so that you can take that time and say, I know the things are done that need to be done. And I can take a beat, I can rest. And I think it's incredibly important. As we go, key takeaways that you have. First, communicate your desired expectations. Don't assume. Next, celebrate that which you want to perpetuate. Thank you, Jonard. Really target, be authentic, find those key things that you can really, really glom on and really appreciate in others. Third, reflect, review to improve. So really kind of look at that first half, what needs to be changed, modified, successes for the second half. Fourth, plan. Take that time, speak with your vendors, set up some demos, set up some pilots, make sure you're getting feedback and communication so that you can have success. Plan for that successful second half of the school year. And then last, rest. You've earned it, and it needs to be a priority. No matter how hard it is, rest. So this was a pretty light one, pretty quick. But if you guys have any questions, please feel free to toss them in. If I'd love to continue the conversation, talk to your rep. Let us know. I know that Kate has a survey to fill out if you have questions or anything. It would be great to connect. We've got the exit survey up. Excuse me. And we would love to hear from you about how we can partner and make the second half of the year awesome.
Oh, we do have a question, Scott. One from Darren says, you may have missed this. I know he was having some audio issues. But he asks, when is an optimal time to start thinking about this semester wrap up?
So, I mean, it depends. I would start thinking about it a couple weeks ago. I would start the process now. I would highly encourage that, like those pieces, like let's say my break starts in 2 weeks. Right now, I'm reflecting. Right now, I'm looking at what can I celebrate? What successes have there been that I want to call out? I would probably send out that communication email probably about Monday or Tuesday, maybe 3 days before the end of the school year, 2 or 3 days before the end of the school year. So it'll be fresh in everybody's mind while they're getting ready to go. I would, if there's a specific project that I have, like, again, I'm going to reference front of the classroom displays where I want to start reaching out to partners. I would be reaching out to my Trafera rep now to see if I could schedule a meeting to discuss piloting for after the break. And so that we can kind of start talking about those projects. And so you can kind of get a couple of things on the calendar and then you don't have to worry about it. It's on the calendar. You aren't having comprehensive conversations about needs now. I would wait for after the break. And then, thank you, Kate. There is a blog post that we wrote with these elements as well that I think is very helpful as well. And then, I think if you have a week, if you have 2 weeks, it's great. If you go on break next week, I know my kids' schools are going on break next week. I'd send out that communication today to let them know and try to come up with something that you can celebrate.
No pressure.
So,
no pressure.
Yeah, that's right.
Today. All right. And you might have noticed I did post. So all the content that Scott has presented, we did kind of format it into a blog post. So if you just want to refresh or share it with some of your peers, you can definitely do that. I know Scott talked a little bit about those demos. That blog also contains a list of some specific demo programs that we have going on right now. So if that's something you're interested in, definitely check it out there. Thank you very much for being here, everyone. And thanks, Scott, so much for your expertise and your time giving this presentation.
Hey, my pleasure. Have a wonderful day, everybody. And we'll end a little bit early so you have more time to send out
Yeah.
those communications.
Exactly. Happy holidays, everyone. Thank you so much for being here.
Happy holidays.
Bye.